It's a time for reflection for the Scuderia Ferrari. Through the analysis of Technical Director Pat Fry, we look back at the main events of a breathless season.
The first test in Jerez was a shock, or you were expecting those difficulties?
I think the relative performance of everyone else is always, you're always hoping for a reasonable performance. It's always a shock when you haven't got there. We were expecting some challenges with the exhaust system, and we had various combinations prepared, but we weren't expecting the bigger problems as we had.
But in those days, did you have the feeling that we could have had a chance to fight until the very end?
I think we realised very early on what the problems were. So being able to focus on those and just try and get those sorted, you never give up, you've always got to keep on trying. It's, the position in February, we were never going to fix a car by the first race, but we knew what we had to concentrate on, and obviously we made some reasonable improvements by the time we got back to Europe.
So Melbourne was not an unexpected result in terms of gap of performance.
I think that obviously we weren't starting where we were hoping to be. We did the best to recover from the issues we had with the very first run with the launch car. And I suppose from the launch car to where we were in Melbourne is what you'd expect. We were just, it was just disappointing that the launch car performance was down so far.
Spain, you mentioned the comeback in Europe was a sort of a turning point, not only in terms of result, but also in terms of performance.
I think there was a sensible upgrade we brought to the car that fixed a lot of the underlying issues that we had. And then we, at that point, we then went back to the exhaust development that we had been doing, worked hard at that, and then obviously we had the exhaust upgrade for Canada, which, if anything, they're the two big steps that we made, which sort of stand out relative to everyone else, were Spain and Canada.
Summertime until the break was very positive in terms of results, most of all for the Drivers' Championship. Do you feel there was any miss opportunity in that period?
I think that there are always missed opportunities. We all want the quickest car out the box. They're easy points to be gained at the early races. Our decision to stay out and try and complete a one-stop in Canada. Again, with hindsight, that cost us 4 or 5 points. So you never have a perfect year, and we always look back at every race and what we got right, what we got wrong. So we try and not to make those mistakes again.
One of the Achilles heels of the car at the beginning of the season was the top speed. At least this was the common view. But when we arrived to Spa and Monza, the car was very competitive. How much you work on that aspect?
I think because our car had because the lap time was slow and we were slow on the straight, the lack of top speed was one of the perceived problems. In reality, if we had dropped the downforce, we would have gone slower. So that was the best package we could put together at that point. That's where the car was quickest. So we obviously worked on increasing the downforce, reducing the drag. Spa and Monza are, if you like, two extreme races, really, which stand out from the bulk of others are a lot higher downforce. So our performance there, and we developed the front wing especially for those two races. There was some drag saving from that, but it's not a it's not black and white that we were slow and then we were quick. It's that's just the best we had with the package at the time.
Last 7 races of the season were outside Europe, so a lot of pressure in terms of development, not only from the pure performance point of view, but also from the production point of view, and so on. There were a lot of talks about the rate of development, why certain development didn't work and other yes. So what is your general evaluation of that last part of the season in terms of performance?
I mean, if you look at our performance or rate of performance development through the year, we had a very strong development from February through to July. After that, we certainly struggled to find the performance in the wind tunnel, so we were bringing less to the track. We had a few correlation issues like any team really. So I think yes, our rate started to drop off towards the end of the year.
In terms of general review of the season, the reliability was one of the strongest points of Ferrari. How much it was decisive to bring Fernando to fight until the end and the team to the second place?
I mean, for a successful championship campaign, you don't need just one thing. Yes, you need a quick car, but you need a quick driver, a consistent driver, a car that doesn't break. You need to have the best average pit stops and the best strategy. So it's quite clear that I would say that 2 of the 20 races we might have had the quickest car. But the others, we were definitely down on some of the others. But with that, I think the team as such has done a great job to even get to where we are at second in both championships. I mean, I think Fernando has been on the podium, I think it's 13 times.
When you were a child, you finished your school year, you received your marks. Think about you are playing the role of the head of the children in your school year in Formula One. What mark would you expect?
I think you'd mark different areas differently, to be honest. In terms of reliability, pit stops, strategy side of things, we're going to be a 9 out of 10, I would have thought, in terms of car performance. We're obviously still lacking at the end of the year to our 2 main rivals, so that has to be marked down. I'm never going to be happy until we've got the quickest car, qualify first and second and finish first and second. So we need to keep on pushing as hard as we can to get us to that point.
The end of the sporting season was celebrated with a now traditional date with the Finale Mondiale in Valencia. Via Pictures and War, we relived the event that reunited all Ferrari racing stars with clients and fans.
This is a fantastic day, not only because the weather is unbelievable, but because we have so many clients, so many cars coming from all over the world, drivers, Formula One, it's 599, Challenge, for everything that shows what is Ferrari. Because I'm really proud to welcome here in Spain a lot of clients and competitions, and the possibility to say thank to our Formula One drivers, to the drivers that has won Le Mans 24 hours with the 458 GT. so unbelievable day, but this means what is Ferrari. When you don't win or you lose a championship at the last race for 3 points, you always have regrets. But I'm proud of the team. I'm proud because we have been protagonisti for the entire season. At the last race we have got 2 drivers on the podium. Fernando Alonso made an unbelievable, fantastic season, the best of his career. And Felipe Massa has finished the championship very strong, and so this is a good news for next year. I think Ferrari has been the best in terms of reliability, perfect the strategy at the pits and the pit stop, and very good starts. We need only a car for next year that put our drivers in condition to start more in front, and this is what I've asked to my people to do for the entire season. Having said that, I'm pleased to see a Ferrari at that position, and we will do our best to win next year, because I want to win.
Stefano Domenicali said Alonso gets 10 out of 10 and Ferrari 7. Do you agree with those marks?
Well, I agree always because it's our team principal and you should agree. No, I think it was a very stressful season for all of us. It was a fantastic determination, fantastic commitment from everybody in the team to reach our goals. At the end, we were very close to win the World Championship, but we fight until the end, and we give the best of us in every single race, and we have to be proud. We have to be happy for the achievement and for the results we had, and thinking in next year to improve a little bit more.
The most emotional moment of the year maybe was here in Valencia. How special is it to be able to drive a Formula One car in front of your home fans?
It was fantastic. I think winning the home Grand Prix is a very unique experience, and if you win it starting also at the back, and unexpected win, let's say, it was even more emotional. So by far was the best moment of the season, winning in Valencia, and hopefully we can repeat these home wins in next year.
Felipe, you are a veteran of the Finale Mondiale. How does it feel to see so many Ferraris together again?
I think it's always fantastic, I mean, to see whatever kind of Ferrari, you know. Even I remember when I was a kid and I see a Ferrari in front of me, it was like a dream come true, you know. I was saying, this is a Ferrari, I cannot believe it, you know. And I think now, I mean, whatever Ferrari you see, I mean, even if we're working, you know, with Ferrari, and we know all of them, you know, by driving. So every car you see is always a fantastic feeling, you know. So whatever year you see, this one is a Ferrari that we raced in 2009, and you see outside is a car, you know, a challenging Ferrari, road Ferrari. So whatever car you see is always a great feeling. So you never get tired because it's a dream car.
You finished the season on a real up. Will this progress continue into 2013 as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a bigger second part of the year, and I think this is just the preparation for next year. I hope we can start and finish the championship in the top. Not just doing good race, but also starting in front, because we know it's very important to have a car that is able to start in front. The races always get easier, you know. So we're looking forward for that, and I hope we're gonna have a fantastic championship from the first race to the last one.
new appointment with the alphabet of Formula One, Maranello's engineers explain the meanings of words flow-vis, visor, yellow flag and Xylon.
F for flow-vis. Flow-vis is a term we use to generally try and understand where the flow is going and what the direction is and the properties of the flow on the surface of components like front wings, rear wings, or generally anywhere on the car. It is very useful for us to understand if there's a problem, and even if there isn't a problem, to understand how what we see on track corresponds to what we see in the tunnel or in the CFD predictions. It's done very simply by applying a liquid which has a certain powder which dries off when the car is running, and hence it leaves a trace of where the air is going on the surface of the component. So not only do we see the direction, but also by looking very closely we can understand the type of flow, how it's attached on the surface, and it's very important for us. And it's just another element, together with all the other elements like the load measurements and the driver feedback and the lap times, of assessing how good a development that we bring to the track really is.
In Formula One we've got two different definitions for the visor. One is the visor which is fitted in front of the chassis, which protects the driver, and the other one is the one which is fitted on the helmet. The visor on the chassis is used to avoid that the air can go directly on the helmet on the driver, creating some turbulence on it. So we put this device in front of the cockpit opening, which helps the air to jump just over the head of the driver. We typically use two different shapes of visors, one which is completely flat like this, and the other one which is done more like a ramp, which is completely different in the aero shape. We fit this kind of visor depending from the height of the head of the driver inside the cockpit. As you can imagine, through this flat visor the driver can easily watch through it. With this, while there is a curvature, it's very difficult to watch through. So if the head of the driver is quite high, we can fit this kind of visor, which aerodynamically is a lot better. In the case that the head of the driver is lower, as in the example for Felipe, the visor is flat, so he can watch through the visor. The visor on the helmet, the first big difference from the normal visor we are used to see on a normal motorbike helmet is the thickness. It's more or less 3 mm thick, 2.5 mm. And this is obviously to avoid that in case that something hit the visor can create any problem to the driver, as Formula One goes very, very fast. Then we've got typically three different options of color of the visor. One is the dark, which is this one fitted on the helmet. Then there is a medium visor like this, and the clear one. Obviously we fit the one which suits better the atmospherical conditions and the condition of lights we have got. Obviously in a race like Singapore, which is during the night time, we use a clear visor. When there is sunshine, like in Abu Dhabi or in Bahrain, we use the dark visor. Another big difference from normal helmet visor is the system of fixing. It's a very strong system which obviously must avoid that accidentally the visor can be opened during the running.
We can have a yellow flag display on track, for example when there is a car stop outside the track. Obviously you have two levels of yellow flags, because you can have the normal yellow flag and also the double yellow flag when outside the track there is something that the FIA thinks that it is more serious, so the drivers needs to have a much better lift off and going slower, even slower. Today we don't just have yellow flags, but we also have yellow lights that have exactly the same meaning, but it is a more technological and useful tool for the marshal and also for the driver. In fact, the driver can get also the flag on the steering wheel.
Xylon is a material that is much stronger than Kevlar. It is used in F1 mainly in two applications. One of the applications is the wheel tether, you have an example in here, that is used on the suspension arm to keep the wheels in case of a crash. The other application is the side panel of the chassis, that is this component that is mainly used to protect the driver in case of a crash test of the side of the car.
Scuderia Ferrari Racing News will be back for the end of the year edition with Christmas wishes and much more.